Hello there. Yes, I'm Akaze, the Project Maestro. It's great to have you once again. Yes, today I want to speak about the roles of a quant surveyor. In my last video in this series, um, I spoke about who a quant surveyor is, what who a quant surveyor is in the construction industry, and I promised that thereafter I will do a video that describes or details or outlines the various roles that a quant surveyor performs what in construction projects and even outside of construction projects. So that is what I want to treat in this video. In other words, what are the ways that a quant surveyor can help you achieve what successful projects? That's what I want to discuss right now. So, are you ready to join me in this journey? Yes, let's get right into it. Yes. So, um, let me say that in doing this video, I'm going to divide the roles, or I'm going to divide the roles of the conservator into three parts. The first part are the pre-contract services. That's the roles that the conservator carries out pre-contract, and then the second part is the post-contract, and then the third part was or the third section or third portion of services is what is the additional services. Now, when you say pre-contract, what do I mean by pre-contract? Pre-contract means all the services that the quantity surveyor provides before a contract is awarded to a contractor. All the services that the quantity surveyor provides or does, the things he does before the contract is eventually awarded to a contractor to say, okay, you contractor go to site and start constructing or start executing what a project. That those are pre-contract services. Then post-contract, just as it implies, the prefix post is after. That is all the services. Post-contract services are all services that the quantity surveyor provides or will provide after the contract has been awarded to the contractor. Then of course the additional services that are not that are aligned or not aligned or not in connection with construction, because actually the quantity surveyor provides services that are some services that are actually outside the actual construction of projects. So I'm going to discuss those services in the additional. So I just needed to give you to explain that to you so that you can understand where these services are. So yes, pre-contract, the pre-contract services or the contract rules of a quantity surveyor. What are they? Number one, the quantity surveyor provides services that have to do with budget estimating. Budget estimating is usually is the first service that the quantity surveyor provides on any project. Now, what is budget estimating? The quantity surveyor prepares preliminary budget estimates for a proposed project. Now, what does a preliminary budget estimate do? It helps inform the client of the likely financial commitment required to undertake that proposed project from the commencement of the project to the end of the project. So budget estimating helps the clients to understand what his financial commitment will be, what the budget will be like, and it will also help him to take a decision. Does he have enough money to carry out that project or not? A preliminary budget estimate will help the client determine or take that decision. Yes, so that's the first service under the pre-contract services. Now let's go to the second one. So the second service is what is cost planning. Now, in cost planning, the quantity surveyor utilizes data obtained from budget estimates to ensure that a projected cost of the architect's design, the design that the architect is preparing, while the architect is preparing the design, the quantity surveyor uses data from past projects to determine if that final design is within the client's budget. Like I said, the first service that the quantity surveyor provides is to do a preliminary budget estimate. So once he has done a preliminary budget estimate and he has told the client that, okay, client, your project will most likely cost X amount of X amount. Now while the architect is preparing the design for that project, the quantity surveyor uses data to ensure that the eventual cost of the architect's design does not go beyond the client's budget, because of course architects, well, God bless them, they love to wow their clients. Of course, they love to wow their clients, and so with that zealousness, sometimes they go ahead and do some designs that are far higher than what the client has to spend on that project. So cost planning helps. It helps to ensure that when the client, when the architect has completed his final design is ready. That design, when it is costed by the quantity surveyor, it will not go beyond, or it will not go considerably beyond what the clients would project. So that's what cost planning is all about. It's a bit technical, so that's why I have to take some time to explain it to you in a kind of layman term. Yeah, so that's the second service. The third service that the quantity surveyor provides under the pre-contract stage is what contract documentation. Well, a contract document, the quantity surveyor prepares what contract documents for the construction what project. It prepares contract. What are contract documents? We call bills of quantities, specifications, conditions of contract. The quantity surveyor prepares these documents for both the main contract and any other specialist subcontract works. Which, and these documents will be tendered forward by contractors. Using different bidding processes. So these are what and those are what contract documentation what involves. Prepares the contract surveyor, or prepares what contract. In fact, that is it. Those are one of the core services of what the contract surveyor. He prepares what those contract documents. On that basis of those contract documents, those are the basis on which what contractors will be invited what to tender for what for for the proposed what project. So yeah, that takes us to the next service which the consortium provides under the pre-contract stage, which is what bid and tender evaluation. Now, just like I've said, after the consortium has prepared what the contract documents and given it to the client, and the client sends it out, the client or the architect, they send it out to what, to the prospective contractors to tender. It is the conservator's job or to prepare a detailed and or undertake a detailed analysis of what those contractors bids or tenders, to check them, check the bids and tenders for completeness, accuracy, competitiveness, and eventually make recommendation what to the clients on which contractor or contractors the conservator sees as what successful or as the most qualified for the project. So the conservator does that. He reviews all the tenders, all the bids that the contractor has sent, and what he reviews them and makes what a recommendation. So we'll call that what tender analysis and what an evaluation. That is what we call. That's what is called what in the conserving word. So bid and tender evaluation is one of the services that the conservator provides under the pre-contract stage. So now that is the last service that the conservator provides under the pre-contract stage. That's the last service. So let's go to the post-contract. What are the services that the conservator provides under the post-contract stage? Now, number one is what a project cost what control. Project cost control. The conservator controls construction costs throughout the construction period. Now, like I said, post-contract stage is the stage after after the contractor has been awarded the contract. So, okay, the contractor has been awarded the contract, has been mobilized, the site where he's going to construct the project has been handed over to him, and he starts working. That is the post-contract stage. So the conservator board under project cost control, the conservator controls construction costs throughout the construction period of the project. By ensuring that the project cost does not exceed the already agreed or signed amount, figure, the figure that the client has agreed with the contractor, except for where the client decides to bring some, or where some changes come, some variations or changes come where that's maybe are unforeseen, or the client decides to make some changes. Then of course in those situations, then the contract figure can be reviewed. But aside from that, the conservator, it is the job of the conservator to ensure that he manages construction costs within the project. He manages the construction costs such that what it does not go beyond what negotiated what contract the post contract. Number two, a service with the conservator provides under the post services is what measurement of variations. Of course, the conservator measures and values any variation that the client has approved. If it was a variation is a change in scope of the project along the way. Maybe the client wants to change some, maybe change the specs of some work items or some materials, or maybe change the size of some rooms, or do some changes. If the client decides to do that, the quant surveyor needs to what measure and what value what those variations will cost. And of course, when he measures and values them, it informs the client that, okay, client, you say you need this, or you say you want to change this. This is the cost. The client will not decide does he want to go ahead with that change or not. So that's what the quantity surveyor does. Yes. So the next service that the quantity surveyor provides on a in the post-contract stage of a project is what periodic financial statements. The quantity surveyor prepares periodic financial statements that inform the client of the financial status of the project. Of course, don't projects take a while, depending on the scope of the project. They take a while, they could take months, they could take years. So at different stages of the project, while the project is ongoing, while the construction is ongoing, the quantity surveyor does what? He prepares periodic financial statements to inform the client of the financial status of the project. In other words, to let the client know if there have been cost savings or there have been cost overrun, that's cost increase, on the project. So the quantity surveyor does what? That prepares periodic financial. The next thing that the quantity surveyor does under the post-contract stage is also payment recommendations. The concept is the job of the quantity surveyor to make recommendations to the client for payments in favor of what? The contractor or the contractors. It is the job of the quantity surveyor to do that, to tell the client that, okay, client, it's time to pay the contractor X amount of money. Now the quantity surveyor does that in different ways, either by measurement and valuation of the works that the contractor has completed. We call it the valuation method. I'm going to talk about that in future videos. Or that is one way, or confirmation of works that have been covered under what? A milestone payment method, in paying contractors. I'm going to do a video soon that talks about the different methods by which you should pay what? Your contractor. So depending on when you are watching this video, I might have done it, or if you're watching this video earlier, I might not have done it. But just watch out for it. I'm going to do it. It talks about the different methods by which you can pay your contractor, and the valuation method and the milestone method. Those are the two major methods that you can use to pay what? Your contractor. So the quantity surveyor does that. It makes recommendations to the client. Yeah. So under the post-contract stage, the last service that the quantity surveyor does under the post-contract stage is what? Final accounts. The quantity surveyor prepares what? A final account, a detailed final account at the completion stage of the project. Of course, you know what an account, just like you have in companies, at the end of the year, they prepare a balance sheet, they prepare a statement of accounts, for filing a statement of accounts. So the quantity surveyor, it is his job also at the end of a project, when the project is completed, to prepare a statement of accounts to the client, which will detail how the monies, the funds that the client has put into the project, how they have been spent, who got what and who is still being owed. Because at the time a final account is carried out, most likely the contractor or contractors or suppliers on that project, not all of them might have been paid. So a final account details who has got what, which contractor or which supplier or which vendor has got what, and also tells who is still being owed what, so that the client can what, make payment. So those are the services that the quantity surveyor provides under what, the post contract or stage of what, a construction project. So now let me go to the additional roles or the additional services that what a quantity surveyor what provides. Are you ready? Join me. So now the first additional service that the quantity surveyor provides is project management. What's project management? Project management is the seamless coordination of all project parties. When I mean project parties, I mean consultants, contractors, vendors, subcontractors, suppliers, etc. on a project on behalf of what the client, from the conception to the completion stage of the project. And the purpose of that coordination is to achieve what the client's project goals. So project management is a popular method of construction management these days, where a client, appoints somebody, to oversee a project on his or her behalf. What the project manager does is he manages the project on behalf of the client, reports to the client what is going on, etc. So the client really doesn't really need to go to the project site if he doesn't want to. So the quantity surveyor, based on his vast knowledge of financial management, financial control, legality, specifications, measurements, correspondence, quotations. The quantity surveyor has a vast knowledge of these things based on his training, based on their training. So it is considered an advantage to appoint a quantity surveyor as what a project manager on construction projects. I personally have been appointed to manage a couple of projects, both presently and even in time past, by a few clients. The next additional service that the quantity surveyor provides is what procurement management. It manages processes involved what in the procurement of different kind of resources required for construction projects, such as materials, equipment, components, labor, manpower, etc. Now, the quantity surveyor can provide these procurement management services either on a construction project, because of course all those resources I mentioned, they are required on a construction project. I've also seen situations where quantity surveyors provide these procurement and management services for even companies that are into a lot of procurement. They based on their kind of business, they need to do a lot of procurement of materials, of vendors, of services, of equipment. So I see a lot of companies. I've seen a lot of companies, a lot of corporate organizations that engage consumers to manage their procurement, to manage their procurement services. So another additional service that the quantity surveyor provides is what is dispute what resolution. The quantity surveyor provides expert advice and judgment in resolving disputes or conflicts that sometimes arise between contractors and clients, on a construction project. We call it arbitration or alternative dispute resolution. I'm sure some of you who are watching me who are into who are in the legal industry, or maybe you have things to do with lawyers or whatever. I'm sure you would have heard of alternative dispute resolution or arbitration. So the consortium, because they have knowledge of contractual agreements, they have knowledge of contract terms. So when there are disputes between contractors and clients, and then both parties decide that they don't want to go to the courts, they don't want to take it through the courts. They go through what alternative dispute. They go to arbitration, and so in the arbitration, consultants are usually invited to come and give their expert judgment and witness or advice, in in the issue that has been brought to arbitration. So consultants provide that service. In fact, I'm aware that there's a certification for that particular service. Yes, yes. There's an institute of contract construction arbitrators. Yes, that's what they call them. So there's a certification in Nigeria. There is. I'm sure abroad, of course, there will be surely. The next service that consultants provide, which is additional, is construction finance monitoring services. Now, these services, they comprise loan monitoring and risk management services, and they are specifically packaged for financial institutions. You know, financial institutions who provide construction finance or who finance construction projects. Those financial institutions include banks, venture capital firms, development financing firms, things like that. Of course, you know that a lot of times individuals or corporate organizations like property developers, real estate, realtors, cooperatives, sometimes they approach these financial institutions for loans. These financial institutions give them loans. But when they give them loans, they need somebody to ensure that those loans are being utilized for what I mean for what they were gotten for. They also need somebody to determine or help them determine that costs that these people who want to take the loan from the financial institution, the cost they are bringing is not overbloated and is not underquoted. And who is the person to do that? It's the conservator, because the conservator is the one who knows about what, or who is trained in construction costs. And so the conservator helps them what, to mitigate and eliminate risks that may come or that may come up as a result of what, of maybe wrong figures, maybe overbloated figures, or maybe the money being given to those who took the loan, the money given to them is not used for the actual purpose. So the quantity survey helps these financial institutions to gate and or eliminate those risks. So that's what construction finance monitoring services are, and the quantity surveyors are the ones who provide what those services. So the next additional service that quantity surveyors provide is construction contract auditing. Construction contract auditing. Now, this covers two major services, which is review of contracts and cost auditing. Review of contracts is an exercise that is undertaken to monitor and better understand, the processes or procedures that have been carried out in existing projects or projects that have been abandoned. This happens a lot in government. You talk about due process. When the government wants to check, maybe in government, some people want to check a project that has been awarded. Was it awarded using the right processes? Was it awarded doing the right? Were the right processes taken in the award of that contract? It could also have, even cooperatives too. Because there was one I did for a cooperative in Abuja, in Abuja, and what happened was a new executive had taken over from a past executive, and they had a project. So they wanted to find out if the cost that or the funds that the past cooperatives had invested or said they had put into project, the cooperative project, they wanted to ensure or wanted to know if actually the cost was actual or if some hanky panky, some underhanded practice had taken place. So they invited me to come and do a review of those contracts. Yeah, so that's what review of contract is part of a construction contract auditing. Another part of construction contract auditing is what is cost auditing. Cost auditing is just is also an exercise undertaken to just to compare and identify contract rates, contract sums, payments, claims of projects that are already been awarded or that are in progress, just to check, okay, the rates that this project was awarded, are they the current rates, or are they the were they the going rates or the current rates at the time when it was awarded, or were the rates inflated? Okay, payments that have been made to the contractor at different times. Those payments, were the payments did the payments capture the actual work done, or were the payments inflated? Were the valuations inflated? Those are things that we do under cost auditing. It is one of the services that the quantity surveyor provides. It is provided just to ensure proper accountability in contracts procurement. I'm sure those of you that are well exposed, you will know about something that in the government, especially in Nigeria, that they call due process. You understand? So that is what the conservator does in helping achieve due process. So the next additional service that the conservator provides is property management. Property management. Now, by their training, expertise and experience, the conservator is well positioned to manage existing assets and or properties of their clients. In terms of running costs, maintenance, repairs, renovations, rent collection, staff management, etc. The conservator can do that for clients. Yeah, so in fact, I do say that when it comes to managing properties, the conservator is best or better to engage in managing properties because of their vast knowledge of contracts, of costs, of construction, of maintenance, etc. So the conservators provide property management services. The last one I will mention is construction service. Of course, with their training, expertise, and experience, the conservator can provide is well positioned to handle construction projects, be they new construction or renovations. They can provide contracting services to prospective clients. I've done so before, in a couple of places, and I know so many of my professional colleagues who have done that. In fact, they've left consulting, and going to contracting. And they say, what did they say? Especially here in Nigeria, they say, well, the provision of construction services is more lucrative than consulting service. Well, that's their opinion, which I know, which I've heard, it's a very widely held opinion. So yeah, the construction services are conservators can provide you with construction service. So I've mentioned quite a number of services now. These are the services that the conservator provides: pre-contract, post-contract, and additional services. So you can see that even beyond a construction project, the quantity surveyor can provide services for you even outside of the construction project. Can provide services for you even in your company organization, provide services for you even in your cooperative, provide services for you even in your government office. The quantity surveyor can provide services is very versatile. And that's why I want to encourage you, if you have a project that you are about to embark on, or you have any of these needs in your organization, feel free to engage a quantity surveyor. I'm also a quantity surveyor too, so show some love, and you can also engage me also. There will be a form somewhere around this video. Feel free to book a free discovery call, and we'll talk about your project or whatever service it is that you need. So, in my next video, I'm going to be speaking about the reasons why you need to engage a quant surveyor on your project. Like I said before, this is a series on who a quant surveyor is and how a quant surveyor can help you achieve success in your project. Yes, yes. So the next video is going to be the reasons why you need a quant surveyor on your project. Values. What do you gain by engaging a quant surveyor on your construction project? So till that video, I wish you the best and I wish you good success in your projects. Till then, stay blessed.